Please, I respect, please silence all cell phones, remove hats. And let's stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any members recording this evening? Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off with the approval of the minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Discussion?
There were some changes that Richard has brought to light, so they will be changed.
They were minor grammatical changes. Under new business, appointment of board members, Henry, we are appointment board members. No, we are appointing. So just changing that. Kathleen is the liaison for the committee, which has not had their meeting yet, so she has not information. She has no information to share. Then Linda also is tired of her name being drunk through the month. It's dragged through the month. And comma between 2 and 15-minute breaks. Just light, easy fixes, and every minutes are correct.
Okay, so let's do this again. Let's go ahead and make a motion to approve the amended minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, on the last meeting, we approved the beautification card party, but we forgot the motion for allowing outsiders. So I'd like to make a motion to allow non-residents to attend the card party. May I have a second, please?
I second the motion.
Any discussion? A vote?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye. So let's try to attend that card party. It's fun. And they have strawberry shortcake.
I have the finances for January. I'm not very good with Excel. I don't have enough practice with it, but I typed it out. So we have checking accounts are $449,052.64. Reserve accounts $1,115,705.60. CDs are $893,512.40. And then we have Edward Jones, which is CDs as well. And that's $1,419,952.55. So the total of our monies is $3,878,223.19. The delinquency report for December was at $161,366.10. But for January, it's down to $66,150. For December was $161,366.10. And for January, it was down to $66,150. I have not gotten an explanation yet. I'm awaiting that. I know the breakdown of the Spectrum monies. Now we've gotten that to where the Spectrum money started at $990,800. There was a CD purchased on March 28th for $241,000. Another CD purchased on March 28th for $247,000. CD purchased on 3/29/24 for $150,000. And a CD purchased on April 4th for $100,000. We also paid then, the broker fee was $49,540. And that's what I got.
Thank you.
The money for the Spectrum monies, the rest is in the reserve account at Brandon Bank. Right. Yeah.
Thank you for the update. Moving on to unfinished business. We're going to start off with our guest. Jimmy, if you want to talk about the gatehouse, please.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I have a little update for you guys on the gatehouse. I had spoke to Cobra today, and they informed me that they were waiting on a few different items to come in, a couple of windows. As you noticed, they cut out the wall for the electric window, put new posts in. The inside is pretty much all sheetrock, ready to go. The insulation was put in today, so we're looking at maybe a couple more weeks because everything is on back order, like a couple of the windows, a couple of items. As a builder for 40 years, I know how that works. It's frustrating for everybody here. It's frustrating for me, overseeing this, but there's nothing we can do about it. That's out of our hands. So they will be here within the next week. Next week, all the windows should be in the building. And I would think that everybody, all the employees there should be in the building with the exception of the outside of the building at the end of the month. They should be in. If not, give or take a few days, they might all be in. And there won't be require any more work on the inside of the building. It'll just be the outside that we'll be working on. So that's moving along, and we should have all that addressed by the end of the month. Any questions?
Yes. When I just went by the little. All right, relax. Lake Rankin. Section 4, or whatever. Do I have to get a microphone?
It's right over there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Didn't do this.
Okay, my question,
Your name and name and unit number.
Elaine Rankin, Unit 4. My question is, when I just recently went by this about maybe 45 minutes ago, you said all the sheetrock was done on the inside, correct?
Correct.
The plastic that is over where the blocks came out is all blown out. Now, it's been raining, so would that affect the sheetrock? That was my only question.
No,
Because I know you said we had mold in there and stuff before. I didn't know the sheetrock got all wet if we have another issue.
no, it's
So-
first concrete in there, so it's not gonna,
All right, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and no one knew that, that's all.
I don't think we'll have a problem with that.
Elaine Rankin, thank you.
Thank you.
Is the bathroom functional yet?
Well, I had the toilet put in, so everybody could go to the bathroom without running back and forth across the street. So I made sure that they, had that put in, I think about a week ago or so.
Linda Walls, you put in a comment for the gatehouse. You put in a sheet? Did you put in a sheet?
Yes. I've got, he opened it up, questions on the floor, I got a question on the floor.
This isn't questions on the floor.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you have a sheet?
Whoa.
He asked for questions from the floor. From the floor, I got a question. How much are we paying for the jailhouse? The little box? How much are we paying for that?
That I can't, I don't know that answer to that. You would have
Okay,
to-
how about $900 a month? $750?
$750 a month.
Okay, so we've got $750. When is this gonna be done?
That'll be removed next week. At the end of the month, that'll be removed.
Thank you.
Linda Walsh, Unit 4. When we receive the bid, can you, did they give us a breakdown or just a lump sum?
They initially gave us a contract. You're talking about the gatehouse,
Yes,
correct? They initially-
yeah, this right here.
Yeah,
Did they give us a breakdown of everything or just a lump sum?
no, there should be a breakdown in there on certain areas when they're completed, when they get their next draw. That should all be,
Well, I want to know what the windows cost, what the AC cost is there any
well, that's,
breakdown?
no, that's when they give you a price, they give you a price on everything included.
I think we should
You can't
have,
specify, that's like, toilet, sink, shower, this, that, you just, when you do an estimate, you combine everything together. And that, we tell them, is this what it's gonna include? Does it include soup to nuts, everything? Yes.
has there been any revisions to change this amount? Either lower it or raise it?
Oh, it was lowered. It was lowered from the beginning. Because the original estimate, I believe, was like, 68 or 69,000. And we got them down to 58.9, I believe it is.
58.9?
Right.
Mine says 59,550.
15, sorry, I was off a little bit. But anyway, we got them down originally to where they wanted a lot more. So
Okay, and
just
this
a
is,
little negotiating, but we got them to where we wanted them to be.
what's the warranty on the air conditioner?
That I couldn't honestly tell you. I'm sure it's gotta be.
I mean, because what I've seen, is that really gonna cool
Oh,
when the hot sun comes through those windows?
yes. Those windows have triple E glass, which means you're not gonna see in them at all. So that's like 100%.
When you close the bathroom door, since there's no vent work, or you gonna,
No, that'll be vented. There's also a window in there.
I know there's a window in there. And this is to the board. Did you review the reserve study on what we can spend based on the reserve committee for the gatehouse?
We did look at it.
And do you know that we're over?
Based on the information we had available at the time, it seemed like we were under.
Well, renovation was $16,631 for the year 2025. Windows, the year 2031, $19,000. Air conditioning, 2029, $4,453. That adds up to $40,778. We need work done on the gates. Part of that money was already used. And the rest of it, according to the reserve study, is 2033 for $55,000. You can't borrow money out of another element in the reserve study. So how are we paying for all of this?
I think you know that we have pooled reserves.
Right, but you can't borrow out of one from the other.
I understand that. So the pool for this for code enforcement had a total of 82,800. And then we would fund it another 12 this year. So we shouldn't spend more than 84,000 unless the interest that gets allocated from the Edward Jones, which is evenly divided between these elements,
I know.
gets added in. So it's not that the one line that says air conditioning, that we're committed to only spending $2,000 on air conditioner. It's the pool, and that's why we
Right,
did
I
that.
understand that, Val.
Okay,
But we've got to repay all of that we use in advance of the reserve study.
well, hopefully whoever does the budget next year will add more money into that because we had such an expense.
Okay.
Moving on, we're going to move on to the finance company update. So as of today, we are in conversation with both companies. We've asked them to review and revisit their proposals based on the conversation and their presentation. There were some additional topics that surfaced through those presentations, which I'm glad they did. And we've asked them to go through and revisit and resubmit. Additionally, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, we put together a list of sort of, I'll call daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly activities that our current bookkeeper does. And we sent that to both companies in advance of the presentations to make sure they understood the deliverables that we were looking for as part of this transition to a finance company. And as of, hopefully by the end of the week, I should have back the revised proposals to make sure it picks up everything we're hoping to get accomplished. The one aspect I talked to Access Management group today was about processing payroll because we're hoping to also get that out of being a QuickBooks product. So that's really the last little hurdle, is trying to figure that out so that we can get completely away from QuickBooks. I think also many of you should have seen the presentations that we emailed out earlier this week to try to put all that information in your hands if you had any questions. But we're moving along and we're having good conversations with them. And like I said, I hope to have revised, resubmitted proposals by the end of the week that I can submit to the board, and we can start to do our due diligence on that.
Mary, a story you put in a,
I'm passing. I'm passing on this.
okay, thank you.
So we're moving on to the new development out front. We'd like to invite Steve.
Hi, Steve Smetko, Unit 2. Just a quick update with regards to our current status. Last Monday, the 10th, several members of the Brookridge Development Committee met with a representative, an engineer from Coastal Engineering in downtown Brooksville. Very simply, the purpose of our meeting with them, we felt strongly that we needed some professional guidance in helping us through the process that will be necessary to our dealings with the county to find out exactly what we need to do, paperwork-wise, amended plan-wise, etc. They were very kind enough to kind of take the lead in this regard. They have a working relationship with Hernando County, of course, because they deal with them on projects all the time. So in that sense, we feel we have sort of someone in our corner, or someone that's got direct access to the people that we'll need to deal with. So the way it was left very simply was they agreed to contact their main contacts at Hernando County Public Works, get some specifics from them with regards to what we will need to do, okay, meaning Brookridge, in our dealings with the county, so that the paperwork portion of this can get going and we can start making progress with regards to getting the approvals necessary. At the same time, we did ask them if they would be willing to, shall we say, shepherd us through this issue. And they said they would. So when they do get back to us with the status, what they're going to do is, of course, give us the information that they obtained from the county, as well as provide us with a bid to assist us in this process. So
Is this for the resident gate?
this is for the resident gate, correct? Sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is for the second permanent resident gate. Okay, so we felt very good with regards to the meeting. They are very familiar with not only the area, but of course they were also involved in some of the work that was being done at the development, the Alliance to Grove right here at the front of the park. So all in all, we consider ourselves pretty fortunate to enlist their aid. So once they get back to us with, again, what the communications were with the county and them, and of course provide us with a written bid to to help us along with this process. In other words, they would take the lead for us. They would tell us what we have to do, etc. And at that point in time, obviously, then we would be getting back with the board and discuss further whether we're going to proceed with them or exactly what. But this is a huge step forward because we finally have someone or a firm that knows what we want to do, and this is in their wheelhouse. This is what they do all the time. Okay, so That's pretty much it. Well, right, well, the question was, where did we propose putting the gate? And this was something else that we discussed with them, okay? And that we proposed putting it where Adolph Street and Scepter intersect on Grove Road. And there's a variety of reasons for that, including location, the fact that there's some infrastructure already in place there, okay? But we want to make it very clear that one of the things that they recommended is that with us submitting the amended master plan, that we perhaps put in more than one possible location, okay? Because very simply, what an amended plan does is it will enable us to put in exit gates or entrance gates at several different locations without having to go back to the county again in the future, okay? So when this amended master plan is submitted to the county, they're either going to say yay or nay, right? We already know that they're on board with us because the county told us in a meeting last year, actually, that if a community the size of Brookridge now, if it was being just proposed to be built now, 2,800 plus homes, they would insist on 3 entrance and exit gates. Okay, so we wouldn't be able to just do one like we currently have. Okay, so they're on board with us putting in another gate. There's no question about it. It's just really a question of where. Okay, so we will put in a couple of different recommendations. Okay, but one way or the other, that is our initial choice. Is the Adolph and Sumter.
Will it actually be Grove Road or will it be Adolph?
No, it would be Grove Road. Yeah.
You realize that 2 cross streets, Scepter and Brookridge Boulevard, both stop signs. Nobody stops at stop signs now.
Well, we can. yeah. Well, you know, what we're looking at is you know, obviously putting in that gate. We can't. One of the just to take a step further. The development committee also has been involved in, right, and it's something that we're still investigating, is ways to better monitor traffic, reduce speeding, etc. Not only Brookridge Boulevard, but on all the streets, okay? One of the reasons why we felt, in addition to the infrastructure issue, we felt that putting the gate at the Adolph and Scepter location would significantly reduce the amount of time people on the north end of the park, okay, would take to be able to enter and exit the park. Meaning, if you're not driving all the way from way up north, all the way down here every time you want to come in and out of the park, chances are maybe you won't speed as much because it's not going to take you anywhere near as long. Right? Well, wishful thinking. Okay, but logically, you'll be able to get into and out of the park faster. Okay, so I would think that could only help the speed issue. Okay. Well, one of the other things we talked about was whether or not, again, this is far in the future, okay, but we said, depending on the circumstances, the gate on Adolph and Scepter would not necessarily have to be a 24-hour gate, okay, because some people have expressed security concerns, okay, so perhaps it would be a situation where that gate would be open, say, for example, maybe sun up to sundown, okay, for example, okay. That's in the future, has yet to be decided, okay, but that's one of the concerns people brought up. So again, ultimately, that decision will be made by people other than me.
I live on Scepter, just out from Adolph. 30 miles an hour, it takes me next 5 minutes to make the front gate.
Okay, there you go.
And he got back another 5 minutes. What is 10 minutes out of your life?
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. Look, if the development at the front end of the park was not going in, I'm not sure we'd be having this conversation. Okay, but I can tell you that until that park is up and totally operational, we have no idea of the impact. But I can guarantee you, it's not going to be a good impact on traffic here. Okay, and I don't think it takes much dreaming to think about what the added influx of all that's gonna be to the only access, entrance that we have currently. Okay, so one way or the other, we need, this is, another entrance and exit has been long overdue. Have okay, but you know what, here, again, we have fairly limited options, okay? Right, understood, but keep in mind, again, part of the rationale for this is we need another entrance and exit gate. It will at least, at the very minimum, give people in this park the option of hey, guess what, I don't have to get behind 50 million cars coming in off of 50 there. I can always come to Grove Road and get in here, okay? And I'm sorry, a second gate in this community should have been done 20, 25 years ago, okay, really. Again, we've looked at this stuff and there's no perfect, right? There's no perfect location, but we feel that's the best. No, and again, as thought of now, it would be an unmanned gate.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, to answer your question, we have been, I'm not gonna say we're given, but maybe David, if that's not the right term.
It hasn't been given yet.
Yeah, but we will be receiving funds somewhere in the area of $30,000 to $35,000 from the developer of the Alliance of the Grove, okay, to use at our discretion for a gate. Okay, now, will that cover everything? No, it will not. However, I can tell you that it's gonna cover a good portion of what we need to do now, okay? Because even if, and I'm hoping this is not the case, even if we would not put this gate in now, what we're doing in our communications with coastal engineering and the county will enable us to put that gate at a location we choose in the future. Okay, so what we're doing now would have to be done whether or not a gate goes in or not. Okay.
And the developer, I worked with them several years ago. So the developer is going to give you some funding for each house, and at the time, he was going to get the money to put a golf cart gate out front.
That's correct.
Okay, so you tell me, you think you can put another gate in Grove Road for $35,000?
Didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I'm just saying that it's gonna cost more than that.
Sure it is.
Where is the extra money coming from? All this other things that are in the works.
Well, that's not an answer I can give you.
I understand that.
Okay.
I just think all these people kind of need to understand that it's gonna be more of an expense for everybody.
Absolutely, and of course, one of the things that I'm asked all the time is, what is the total cost going to be? I have no clue right now what the total cost is. Look, at anybody that thinks it's going to be $500,000, that no way. Okay, so sorry, so put that to rest, right? But is it going to be another $10? No, it's not. Okay, but again, that money that we're going to use, that the developer is going to give us, is going to take a big chunk out of that total expense. Okay.
When I was doing this with the developers, when they offered the $30,000 for a gate for the golf cart to go into the shopping center, that money will then be used for another gate.
Yes.
And then, yeah, okay, all right.
Yes. They very kindly told us they don't. To put it bluntly, they don't care, what gate we want to use it for. But it's for a gate.
Thank you, Steve.
Is there any discussion about putting a gate out at the end of Bill Silver to get up Sunshine Grove? And I know there's power lines there, is that possible?
No, that was something that was discussed, okay? Again, we took into account when we came up with that location, several different factors, okay, including, look, we want it to be used by the most number of people, okay? Aside from the issue of, Duke Power owns, by the way, that land between Brookridge and Sunshine Grove. But one of the other things that I can tell you, although it's not off the board as far as consideration, but I can tell you that the county has already told us, okay, because it was brought up with them last year, that they would not allow there's a median between the northbound and southbound lanes there. They would not allow us to have a cut through that median like the other community has now. So it would entail, it would be a right turn only out of the park onto Sunshine Grove, which means anybody that would want to head towards 50 or whatever would have to go to the light, do a U-turn, and come around. So that we obviously felt was not very appealing, okay? So, but again, that location has not been totally ruled out because at the end of the day, the county is going to be the ones that ultimately decide if we can put, what we can put where. Well, just so you know, that's what we were told. Okay, so in addition to some other factors. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Val.
Sorry, I did that earlier. I was gonna suggest we did the motion.
Got it. Okay, that's easy. ACC agenda.
Is Paul Campbell here? Can you come up and talk about the ACC?
Paul Campbell, Unit 2. I'm also the ACC chairperson. For a while now, we've been trying to get some type of guidelines in about solar panels, the installation of solar panels. We cannot stop people from putting solar panels, but when they do put them, we would like to be able to tell them where they cannot put them. We have setback rules, and they're always used for construction. We had this agenda topic in August. It was tabled. The committee again submitted it for December meeting. It never hit the agenda. And we're trying to resubmit it again for this issue. All we would like to do is to get something in our guidelines to start the process of saying where they're supposed to be. If they would like to change the wording, we can change the wording as it gets put in. But right now, we have nothing in the guidelines. We had one that wanted to put solar panels in. They filled out a one-page application. It was approved. Now, according to them, they can put them wherever they want to put them. If they're not in the guidelines, tell them where they can't put them, then they're going to end up on the front yard of the house across the street from me. So this has been submitted 3 times. We've had discussion with the board on what they would like to see in there. We have rewritten it again with everything that they wanted addressed to be addressed. So I'm just asking that we accept this as written, and if you would like to change the verbiage later on, then we can have that discussion. Solar panels. Solar panel installations require ACC approval. Panels may be mounted on the roof, attached to a mounting framework, or attached to existing structures. All installations must comply with setback limitations. No panels may be placed in the right-of-way. All applications must be submitted with an accompanying boundary sketch, survey, or drawing indicating specific locations of panels and their compliance with setback requirements. Solar panels mounted on electric bicycles and electric golf carts do not need to comply with setback rules. Portable and temporary solar panels are exempt from setback requirements unless they are mounted on the ground or on a structure mounted in the ground. All solar panel installations that are on record at the admission office prior to February 19 today are not subject to these rules. That started out with a 4-line, and it got revised to that. So everything that was, if you look at portable generators now, you can buy a portable generator. They come with solar panels. You mount them on a pole, you stick them in the yard. It's now an installation.
So, Paul, thank you for your patience in this process. I understand it's been a while. I think, and Roberta's not here this evening, I spoke to her about a month ago. We were going to try to set up a meeting with you to sort of review this. I do have some questions. I can ask a few questions now, and maybe there's a few others from the board, but I thought it was interesting about the electric bikes and golf carts. I heard a few snickers from up front. I thought that was interesting, but maybe you have to do that. You referenced portable and temporary solar
Actually,
panels.
David, that was one of the requests that you guys gave to me to put in there.
That wasn't from me.
From the board. I'm saying you as a board.
Oh, okay. It's still humorous. When you reference portable and temporary solar panels are exempt from setback, I generally get that. But then you say unless they are mounted on the ground or on a structure mounted in the ground. I get the structure mounted on the ground component, but portable. So if you have to your point, portable generator, or you have some temporary solar panels, it feels like we want just a little bit more explanation about what's allowable or what's not allowable under temporary. So when you say like you have a panel, and if you stick it in the ground, it's not being cemented in, it's not being attached to anything, when does it not become temporary anymore?
That's what we're saying. If you take the solar panel, put it on a pole, go halfway between your house and your neighbor's house, or a little bit further, you're on their property, you stick it in the ground, you are not going by the setback rules required for installation or construction. So granted, it's portable. They can take it off once they're done. Or they leave it up, then go to now sees these solar panels. We had one that wanted solar panels for their pool. They wanted to put them in their backyard. All we could tell them was, as long as you are within the requirement of the setback, backyard setback, you can build it any way you want. That's all. It's the structure that they put them on, not the panels themselves.
And is there any, there's nothing in here momentarily, but could they put these in their front yards?
You cannot put them in the right of way, and you cannot put anything in front of the front plane of your home. That's why fences do not go beyond the home and all that.
Okay. I don't know if you have any questions.
Paul, got a question. Can we make this instead of portable, make it all permanent? Can it be just, they can only be permanent?
Again, we can do anything with the verbiage, but please, we have to get something in our guidelines to start with. It can be gibberish, it can be pig Latin, I don't care. We need something in there to start. And then if you would like the verbiage changed, a month from now, something else changes. But you've got to start somewhere. It's like every project that you guys have done. You have to start somewhere.
So I believe what Jerry might want is put the word permanent be the first word. Permanent solar panels require ACC approval.
No, if you have a temporary one that you put on a pole and stick in the ground, it's not permanent. It's still temporary. You can take it out whenever you want. But if you decide to leave it there, it is within the setback, no, it's not within the setback limitations that we need to tell them.
But Paul, just a question. If somebody has a temporary solar panel because their electricity goes out or whatever, and they're using that to power some of their house, like their refrigerator, so food doesn't spoil and all that type of thing, that's a temporary thing, just like having a whole generator gas thing or whatnot. So you don't regulate that as an ACC,
No,
right?
we do not regulate it, but if they make it a permanent structure in their ground, then it does fall under the guidelines for setbacks.
But they have to have that panel somewhere, and at the side of the house is where they're getting the sunlight to operate this, so that they can have their refrigerator or whatnot. So
Yep.
there's food.
And when they're done with it,
And
it
when
needs
they're
to come
done-
down.
So the code enforcement would look at it and say, are you done or whatever, and.
I don't deal with
they
code
would be
enforcement.
fine.
This is just ACC. Code enforcement does what they do. We just need, like I said, something needs to be put in there, and it's been since August of 24. We need something put in there.
Hey, we'll work with you on it and get it,
I put down everything that you guys asked me to put in there. Everything that was asked to put in there is in there now. And now.
Jerry Kraft, are you no, you're not the committee of the document, okay. Got it.
They're out, you just put a few hours, that's what. I don't see it. What's happening?
What's happening now is people coming in saying, I'm gonna put solar panels up. There is a one-page app that you can fill out for something that's not in our guidelines. And if the one-page app is given to them by someone in the office, then it's filled out, signed, you can put it wherever you want, because I got a one-page app that was approved.
Thank you.
So Paul, are you still here?
Yes, I have.
So we'd like to make a motion on your request. Our request will be that you add the word permanent in front of the word solar panel installations. If you'll be willing to make that slight edit, we'll make the motion to approve this with the added word permanent at the very beginning of the document. Are you comfortable making that change? It's just adding one word at the very beginning where it'll say permanent solar panel installations.
But you wanted portable and temporary in here. So now you're saying,
We're not asking him to remove that. We're just asking him to add that word at the front. All we're asking you to do is to add the word permanent at the very beginning.
so permanent has got nothing to do with the portable and temporary.
At the very beginning, it's going to say permanent solar panel installations require ACC approval. Temporary do not. Is that correct? So if you're willing to make that change, we'll make the motion.
I'd rather bring it back to the committee and let them decide again.
Okay, so you prefer that we table it this time?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So I make a motion to table this and wait for further instructions. Have a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving down to new business. This will be pretty brief, I think. We may have a few questions if you want to come up and talk. So at our next town hall meeting on Monday, March 3rd at 10 a.m., we'd like to sort of have a focus of conversation at that meeting to talk about budget reduction recommendations. And we'd like to open it up to the members and see what kind of ideas can surface out of that meeting. Doesn't mean that everything that surfaces is approved or moved forward on, but we're going to struggle to get down to our budget of $50. And we need to come up with some reduction opportunities, suggestions, recommendations. We all live here. And, we'd like to hear from you, the members, on some suggestions or recommendations, but we've got to find a couple $100,000 if we think we're going to hit $50. And so that's really about it. I just wanted to sort of plant the seed to say at that meeting, that's one of the things we'd like to try to focus on, is opening it up to the members to come up with some ideas. Do we have any? This will be at the next town hall meeting on Monday, March 3rd at 10 a.m.
Linda, you put in a comment sheet. Did you want to talk on this?
Jane?
Jane, you keep saying that we have reserve money
Yes.
at Brandon Bank. Has that been coded that way on our balance statements? Because everything there used to be operating.
Evidently, some coding got screwed up, and it is in the process of being corrected.
Brandon Bank has told us which one is the reserve account.
Okay, because when I was treasurer, there was none that was reserves.
I spoke with Chris today at Brennan Bank to ensure that the money that I put into that bank account, which was in question before at these board meetings, it was put into a reserve account. And I have the account number here. It is 9203, and I spoke with him at 10:40 this morning.
9203 was a money,
9203
is a money market operating.
9203.
We never had any reserves at Brandon Bank.
Well, I'm not gonna argue with Chris, so he's the one that manages the account. So if you have questions, please address him.
Okay. The white truck that was at the clubhouse, there was never an agenda item at any board meeting to take a vote on selling that truck. It should have been open bidding to the residents. And I understand it was sold for $6,000. That truck was purchased with reserve money. Where is that $6,000?
According to the records, when we went back there, Arlene informed us that it came out of operating for Vince to be able to use it as a truck for, I can't remember whether she said it was maintenance or the clubhouse, but she said it came out of operating, and that's where I went back to.
Records I have show that it came out of reserves. So shouldn't it go back into reserves?
You have the record with you?
Not with me.
And we get a copy because we're going by what Arlene has told us.
Okay.
And in the reserve, there's only 3 trucks, so that's probably why the 2007, I imagine, I don't know this as a fact, but as it got written off depreciation, then that's why it was no longer a reserve item and became an operating fixed asset.
I understand on the assets, but the original purchase of the truck was from reserves. Correct, Val?
I don't know what happened in 2007. I only know that since I moved in here in 2013, or 2009, it's been on the reserve item that we have 3 trucks, and we have always had 3 other trucks than the 2007.
Okay, and the black Toyota truck, that was purchased from reserves, and it's just sitting behind the admin office. Why are we talking about it? Because that black truck is not, they called me up here and said I could.
You could.
That truck needs to go back to code enforcement's use. If we have an emergency in here, we need control of the traffic. When they bring mobile new homes in here, they need a truck in the front and the back. You have one person working in the gatehouse at night by themselves. That is unsafe. If something happens, we need another person.
Thank you. Thank you very much, both. This
Budget
topic
reduction.
was on the actual town hall meeting and budget reduction topics. So thank you for your comments. That's not what we're talking about.
Well, I think it's something that the residents need to talk about and hear.
Thank you. You can bring up a member comments. We're going to move on. So Clubhouse kitchen discussion.
I think that's me. We received notification that we were having some difficulties in the clubhouse. We called Mike over at Bug Out. He came and assessed the situation, took care of the problem the following day. And he has a follow-up plan for that. We are actually engaged in a plan of correction that they will always be checking and ensuring that we have eliminated the problem. So I wanted to let everybody know, for any of those rumors that are out there, everything is fine, everything is safe, and we have somebody on it all the time. Uh-oh.
You want to go in the kitchen right now, and I'm going to show you a direction. Want to come with me?
Speaker.
Want to come with me?
Microphone.
Don't need a mic. I was there this morning getting ready to cook eggs for Saturday. 500 eggs. I'm not going to cook eggs if there's any rodent poop around. That's wrong.
And I understand that. What we've done is we've put some feelers out for a deep clean for the kitchen, because this problem was here for quite some time.
Sure it is.
Okay, so what we've done is now that we've eliminated the issue in the attic, we're taking care of the kitchen. So we're waiting for the 3 appropriate proposals, the bids.
When's that going to be?
Well, I don't know. We're waiting for them now. We've called several different agencies.
There's a problem. I serve people some food and they get sick. Who's responsible?
Well, we can close the kitchen, but we can't do anything until we have those 3 bids that come in. And they're all for deep cleaning that kitchen. They'll be taking everything out, cleaning it all, making sure and ensuring everything is safe and sanitized. Everything will come out, I've been told. And the refrigerators and the freezer and everything.
Did you look in the fuse box?
I have been on a tour through the kitchen, yes.
Have you looked in the fuse box?
I have looked, yes. And
Well,
we
tear that out too, right?
We have people addressing the problems that are going on out there, but we were just informed of this.
You're gonna be kidding me. It's been going on for a long time. There's been rat traps in it for years.
Okay, so all I can tell you is that less than 2 weeks ago, we were informed. We've taken care of the problem. We have a plan, a course of action to take care of it from this point forward. And we are waiting for bids to come in on the deep clean for the kitchen.
When will that be?
I'm waiting for the bids, Rich. I can't.
Can you call them and find out?
Well, I mean, I can go out and walk down I don't know. We've called them all. We're waiting for bids to come in. I've called 2. And Jamie called 2 before she left. And I know that we're waiting for bids. And they have my email address. So as soon as I get them, I will present them.
So you're gonna let us, men's club, cook this big meal here
But they've been doing it for.
You've been doing it for years.
I know, but we've been watching ourselves, but now there's somebody in back of us supposed to be doing it.
Close the kitchen until it's.
We closed the kitchen for a long time then. What about bingo?
Close it until it's fixed and safe.
We had discussed closing it, but we knew that you had a breakfast coming up. We knew that there was another breakfast coming. We knew that there was bingo. You guys have been doing this.
For years.
I'm not sure how long it's been taking place, but I found out about it less than 2 weeks ago. And in less than 2 weeks, we have a course of action, a plan to correct it, and it's been resolved in the attic. So the problem is gone.
So you're telling me if I walk in at 6:30 Saturday morning in the back and pull out the buckets for the ice and there's rodent stuff in there, what are we gonna do?
Well, you're gonna get a hold of me, I hope, and I will get a hold of Michael at Bug Out. He said if we saw any difficulties, to let him know. I've been through there twice, and I haven't seen anything new. But it doesn't mean that you are in and out of that kitchen more than I am.
Well, because it's a kitchen we use.
Okay, so if you go in there and you find new difficulties that have arisen, then let me know and I will call Michael.
And when are you gonna do that?
Michael is out here directly. I mean, he was out here within 2 hours. Okay.
Okay, moving on to reported directors. Jerry, why don't we start at this end of the table on anything you'd like to report out on? Okay. Kathy?
The only thing I have to report on is that the RV lot, the walkthrough this month was canceled due to an illness. So that's my group. So we have nothing to report.
Jane? Anything else?
I have nothing to report. I met with the ladies of the unit reps. We're still looking for unit reps if anyone wants to volunteer. And that's all I have.
Richard?
Hello? Okay. I was working with Jane Randall. I gave her a snapshot of our monies, what they were at in every single bank, every CD, everything we had as of January 31st. A complete snapshot. Everything is dynamic though. There's money coming in, money going out. But I took it to the end of January 31st, and there's a discrepancy, of course, between what QuickBooks has and what is actual in that. So we're still working on things, and we will continue to work on financial things and try to get things in order so that we'll be prepared for whichever finance company we decide to go with. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Val?
I don't have a committee, but can I talk about the website? I want to promote that people start looking at the website, especially before the next meeting. If you have a login and a password, you can see the budget, and that way you can see the different costs of what it costs to run this community, get some ideas. Also, the two audits, the 22 and the 23 audit are on there so that you can see our financial health. So start getting used to looking at the website.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jerry, second chance.
Okay, I do have a report. I'm in charge of I'm a liaison for the Rules and Regulations Committee, and what we're doing, or what they're doing, is going through and taking the word code enforcement out. I mean, not code enforcement, security out, and putting code enforcement in its place. They are not changing any rules All they're doing is changing that word right now. And because the board makes the decision, we don't have to post the agenda for that meeting. So there's no reason for people to get upset over it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything to report at this time, so we're gonna go ahead and open it up to member comments.
Terry Weigard? Terry Johnson and Carolyn Hyde.
Muriel Story, Unit 6. Do we have a finalized audit yet? The audit, has it come back finalized?
I believe we've finalized it yet.
Well, on December 16th, you received a bill and we paid Affinity the final balance. Why did we pay for something we don't have yet? You're on the website, it's a draft, you're saying it's a draft, yet we gave them the full amount of money for something we don't have. Is there a reason we don't have it back yet? I mean, if we paid them, should we not have it back?
What is posted is the final. That's gonna be the final. They're not revising it.
Then they need to send you a copy that doesn't have draft all
That
over
is
it.
true.
Jane.
That
So
is
this
true.
is what we paid for, that's what we need to get, and that's what needs to be on the website and be given to the residents. The word draft across the page is a little bit difficult sometimes to read.
Makes sense.
So if we
Thank you.
can get that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Have we hired a CPA to reconcile the 2024 books?
We have not hired a CPA yet. I think that's one of the conversations we had with the new finance company is potentially working with a resource that they have.
Okay, but the finance there, if I understood them correctly, they are going to go forward from when they come on. Who is going to take care of the 2024 books? Because before we can have an audit, they have to be reconciled. At this point, it's already approaching March, and they have not been reconciled. So again, you're gonna be in the same situation where it's been for the past years. The audit will not be done in time for the budget. Okay?
Fair point.
So it's something that we really need to look into getting done, especially if the new company's coming in that you're putting in is not going to be reconciling 24. We need to get on that. It should have already been hired way back when. Richard, I have a question for you. I'm hoping you can clarify and explain something to me. At the December 23rd meeting, Robin Napier was talking about a concern for FDI insured over 250,000, and you said that we have a T-stamp. Can you explain and clarify for us what that T-stamp actually is and what it means?
You did get the information from Irene, correct? From Brandon Bank?
Yeah, and that information from
Okay.
Banner Bank talks nothing about a T-stamp.
Okay. Well, if you go back meetings, before I was on the board, when Jim Westbrook was the treasurer back then, he mentioned that at one of the board meetings with Debbie Copel and Leo Benoit and everything. That's the words, the verbiage he used at that meeting. And I believe it was at the meeting that was in room C or whatnot that day. But the thing is, Jim Westbrook set that up, okay? He set that up because we had a huge amount of money in Brandon Bank, correct? He was our treasurer then, not me,
Okay,
all right?
you used the word T-stamp, and what Jim Westbrook actually set up was a repurchase agreement, which talks about money, our money's being secured with bonds. And that has a concern, okay? If you read that agreement and the letter that you got from the bank, it talks about our funds being secured through the use of bonds. Not sure if that's legal.
Well, it's something that he explained before I was even on the board, okay? And he was the treasurer back then. Back then is when that should have been asked, and it should have been asked of the treasurer.
It was never brought out of what it was called. And this is the thing that you're bringing it out now. So I think we need to be transparent with the residents and let them know exactly what this repurchase agreement is and the ramifications it can
And our
have for us.
treasurer after Jim Westbrook should have known what it was that was
A
insured.
treasurer afterward wasn't aware of it. Okay, it was something that only came out recently and it came out just in the past few months through you guys, which is fine, but it's not a T-stamp. It has got a whole totally different meaning. And it should be explained better to the residents exactly what it is. It's called a repurchase agreement that's secured through bonds. And that's something that should be transparent with us. And if I can just
It's on the
impose,
website now, right? Right, Mary?
what's on the website doesn't really explain much of anything. There is no terms, there's no maturity date, there's really nothing. Yes, it's on there, but it does not really explain anything. If I could just indulge one last question. Have we made any decisions as to how we're determining the terms of office for the next meeting next month?
And we're still working on that.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Barbara, Unit 2. I have a couple of items. One is with this finance company. Is it going to be put before the residents before you actually go ahead and sign a contract? Are we going to have any input as to where our money's going to be spent?
So this is not going to be open to the members to vote on, if that's what you're asking.
But it is our money. Why don't we have a say in what we're going to do with our money? Would you like having your money being spent without any input?
So I think we're looking at a finance company, management company to manage our finances.
Right?
We'll get all the reporting in much far greater detail than we're getting anything out of QuickBooks.
I understand that the finance company may be a good thing, but for us not to have any say as far as which finance company or anything. I mean, if our rates get raised, as our HOA might end up getting raised, don't you think we should have some say?
Well, first of all,
We spent on this new software, what was it, $2,000? Right?
so the way this works is the board is responsible for the fiduciary responsibilities of this community. We were told that this doesn't have to go out to member vote to pick a finance company to figure out who we're going to have manage our finances.
Well, then why did we have a meeting last Wednesday morning?
It was an opportunity for you to get to know the two companies that we're looking at, to ask questions, to understand what they're going to do. And they are very similar in their rates, and they're very similar in their services. That's what we're looking at the moment right now.
Okay, the second thing I have is, I believe it was back in November, when we found out about contracts, employment contracts.
Mhm.
Why do we have employment contracts when it's specified that they're not authorized? And what happened to the contract that was signed the night before the president resigned? Why haven't we revoked that contract?
Well, I'm not sure you have the full details, but those contracts were signed back in September, not the night before the
The one for
president.
Arlene, you said was signed the night before.
No, I did not say that. They were signed, but they were still within a 90-day probationary period. And we had days to execute to execute that sort of dissolve aspect of that contract, which is what we did for both Arlene and Vivian.
Okay. Now, the other thing is that I brought it to code enforcement's attention on
But just
several
let
times.
me maybe I can re-articulate. That was done by a previous president.
I realize that.
And then there were fabrications about how it didn't happen, but it did happen. And so
Right.
that was nothing this board had anything to do with it.
I
But we
realize that.
resolved the two that we could possibly do.
Okay. The other thing is I spoke to code enforcement several times. Friday night's bingo traffic. They come flying down that hill. My house has been hit once already. I really don't want to wait until my house is destroyed again. I think they need to put
somebody there to direct that traffic and slow them down.
So I appreciate your concerns and your feedback. That is something that we are engaging conversations with the CDC committee to try to come up with some traffic calming solutions.
The radar speaks over on Brookridge Village, Brookridge Boulevard, in my traffic. Why isn't she up here?
I appreciate the concern, truly, but we are looking into trying to come up with something to slow people down.
Are you gonna pay for my home if it's hit again?
Thank you for your comments.
No, really, you take your life in your hands on Friday night coming down that hill.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Hi, my name is
Hello.
Sherry Wingard. I was just wondering about.
Can you bring the microphone a little closer to your mouth?
I was just wondering about having garage sales. Hello. I was wondering about having garage sales in the community once or possibly twice a year instead of having to go up to the clubhouse, haul everything up there and then haul it all the way back home. It would be better, I mean, Timber Pines, a lot of the other subdivisions have them, and they're closed communities.
So you're talking about a community yard sale?
Correct.
Okay, just the community only, allowing the public to come in?
What's the difference of that or bingo night? Or when the gate's up?
Well, that's true. Let me look into that.
I mean,
And your name,
twice,
name and unit number is?
I don't know my unit number.
That's okay, we'll find it.
And I'm on Salisbury.
Oh, I'm on Salisbury.
Okay, 9319.
Okay, I'll find you.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
It's working.
Jared Craft, Unit 1. I want to talk about the kitchen because last year.
Can you move the microphone closer? Thank you.
Last year, when we were in the kitchen for Helping Hands, it was filthy dirty. We talked to the then president, talked to Vince about it. It was supposed to be cleaned, and we even went in and cleaned it. This has been going on for a very, very long time, and we were told it was cleaned. I don't know if anybody remembers the board meeting. It's not like all of a sudden this happened. I was talking to Rich in the back. It just bothers me because, Vince, do you remember it was supposed to be cleaned?
It was never brought up, though, at
It
a
was
board
brought
meeting.
up, it was brought up to Debbie Coble.
It was brought up.
Vince.
I submitted 3 separate deep clean agencies, which 2 of them I have recalled because the other one's not working anymore. But I did submit all 3. And then Vince said that his crew was gonna handle the deep clean of the kitchen. And if we wanted to pay them
That's
extra,
the
we could.
same thing last year.
I didn't have any, they didn't allow me, once I submitted those, that was the end of it. I did talk to Vince about it, and he said his crew was in there cleaning the kitchen. But I did tell them that it needed a deep clean. It was a mess.
Who's responsible for taking care of the kitchen? Because this has been going on for a very long time, and it didn't just pop up. And as I was telling Rich, this is like nothing new. But anyways,
I do believe that that's a facilities, because it's part of the building.
Okay, my second question is, Richard Weiss said a while ago that we didn't get, I believe it was the audits because they were waiting for information. There were questions. That's why they couldn't be finalized. Were the questions answered, and is everything taken care of 100% now?
No, the questions were answered, and then our then treasurer resigned, so those questions were never answered.
So nothing is finalized, we're still waiting?
It's final the way it is. There's no answers to those questions though.
Okay, and my last question, and I know this is a rough one. The money that supposedly has been missing, whatever amount it was, is anybody any closer to finding it? And when are we gonna start this forensic audit that we voted for? And thank you.
Okay, I'll tell you that I've been to 15 different banks to see if, with our tax number, if we've ever had accounts or dormant accounts at those banks. Some of them we had accounts back when Ray Starr was president, also when Ron Ross was president, but those accounts were long closed. And that I am no closer to finding $141 or so $1,000 that is presumably gone, but I'm still looking. I'm still trying to do whatever I can, but I can't just get it out of thin air.
So the question to the forensic audit, honestly, I was hoping that once we bring on this financial management company and we go through the exercise of purging our inventory of all the documents and information and everything, we need to get them started. I was kind of hoping maybe something would surface through there before we embarrass ourselves and go out and get a forensic auditor to find out that it's just in an account that, you know, previous treasurer didn't let us know about. I'm not talking about Linda. So we were hoping to take action once we get this new company and that they can help shepherd us through this process to try to chase down that money. So I know this tends to come up a lot about the cost of the forensic audit. The forensic audit, from our perspective, and even from talking to a potential forensic auditor and talking to the management company and talking to our attorney, you know, a forensic audit doesn't have to be that expensive because we're gonna ask that individual to focus on one task at a time. We're not gonna do a shotgun blast and say, chase everything down. So it'll be very surgical. What the cost will be, I don't know because I don't have a quote yet on, our thoughts were to have this individual chase down this one missing bank account. So if it had $140,000 in it, give me a quote to go chase down that 140. Right now we don't have it. So if his rate is 10% and he finds it, is that worth it? Don't know. But we're hoping to get just a little bit closer to when we sort of migrate everything over to the new company, make sure that they look at everything and just make sure, you know, it doesn't surface through that process. If it doesn't, we'll move right along with them. Timeline for my crystal ball is kind of fuzzy, but if I had to sort of give you a rough guesstimate, you know, we're hoping to get pretty far along with revised quotes, as I mentioned earlier this evening. We'd like to try to get those, you know, maybe by the end of the week so that we can digest those, go through them, and continue to have more conversations next week. As soon as we get the, and we're already talking to both companies to say, give us a contract with the revisions. As soon as we can get the answers to our questions and the contracts, we're going to send that right over to our attorney, have them review it. And, you know, we hope to have that company in place in April. April 1st, April 15th, April 20th, I don't know. I feel like we want to move along steadily, quickly. But, you know, we don't want to make any mistakes, right? Because it's a critical group out there that's going to be watching every step we take. So we're trying to make sure we do it right. So the contract conversation came up in that meeting. You know, right now I can tell you that the one company we're talking to, Access Management, they have a 60-day out clause in any contract. And so, you know, we've even had some internal conversations. You know, honestly, I'd prefer to have a 2-year contract with some 1-year renewables after that. Whether it's a 3-year contract, 2-year contract, 1-year contract, there's an out clause, at least with them, in 60 days. I'd like to nail down a 2-year contract so that gives us enough time to get some runway to get this thing up and running. Both parties, working together so we don't end up hating each other. And then from there, we can maybe do some renewables thereafter. We'd also, at least I plan on talking to them and the board about trying to negotiate some fixed rate increases, in each of those contract renewables. So that's, embedded in the conversation up front.
Have they given you any hope that through this forensic audit that there's a possibility that?
This management company?
Yes.
They haven't seen our books yet, and I keep trying to sell them. Once I show them to you, you can't leave. But we're gonna embarrass ourselves a little bit. I'm just prepping. Maybe you don't understand how funky things are, but we're going to. It's going to be an interesting process. There's no promises from them yet. We're not even getting to that point until we get a signed contract.
How many years ago were these monies lost?
I'm going to close it after this, but theoretically, it surfaced in 2023 that those funds were missing. It's a bank account, not just funds within a bank account. It was one bank account that had approximately $140,000 in it. And unfortunately, we had a treasurer that passed away, and we're also trying to make sure we don't embarrass ourselves by saying, well, actually, it's over there. It's just nobody knew. So we're trying to be careful, calculated, and intentional. All right, next.
Is it on? Okay. I just want to thank you for.
Closer to your mouth.
Okay, is this better? Okay. I just want to thank you for the opportunity of introducing myself. I'm Terry Brandenburg from Unit 3. I'm also the elected president of our Horseshoe Club, which I'm very proud of. And I'm here to ask for some funds, but I want to introduce some great things that we have done already with our Horseshoe Club. Just 2 weeks ago, we were just sanctioned by Florida State Association as we have an official Horseshoe Club at this point in time, and we're sanctioned to shoot tournaments here. So we proceeded with all of those things. I also have the honor to tell us, I'm sorry. I also have the honor to tell us that we tell you guys that we also are very privileged with having many state champions playing right here. One of them we have is Dave Conan. He is also a vice president on the state board of the Florida State Board. So we have a lot of great shooters here. I'm one of them, and many other ones like we had in the past. So going forward with this, I've been here for about 4 years now, throwing tournaments, and you can probably see a lot of you people. I got the yellow Corvette, so everybody knows me. But what I was going to say is that we had an issue with the grounds up here, and Vince and I have been working together, and he's been really good about it, helping us to flatten the area up there. Over the last 30 years, from I've heard that the club has been there, it's been built up about 8-10 inches above the concrete where we throw from.
Can I ask a question before you go any further? You're saying club?
Yes,
Your
yes.
club, Brookridge Club?
Yes.
Okay. You're
Yes.
saying Brooksville?
I'm sorry, I'm wearing a Brooksville t-shirt because this is my tournament throwing shirt, which we are in conjunction with Brooksville at Vaughn Park and here. So we have joint membership. And that's all in process, because what I'm trying to say is in process because we're redoing the grounds there to make it safe. And in that process, we went and took down the sign, and the club has already donated over $300 putting it up. Melinda was nice enough to put a mural on there. We're going to have it lighted, and that's all a part of the process of regenerating everything there. Club, yes, right here, as I stated, this is listed as a Brookridge.
Before everybody was here, and when I read it in the paper, and it listed as Brookridge, it was Brooksville, Horseshoe Club. So I was kind of curious why Brookridge
And that's a good statement and a good question. Correct, we defined it as our club right here underneath our Brookridge unit here. So now we are officially tagged with the state of Florida and
Okay, can he finish? He's got another minute left.
okay, with everything being said, over the 30 years or so, the grounds have become very, I feel unsafe to walk through there. We have concrete on one side, concrete on the other. What we're looking for, because we have 3 contractors and I'm one of them, I'm actually tied with Home Depot as a contractor there. But we'd like to put concrete from one side to the other. So that'd be 12 little sidewalks about 14 feet long. With that being said, we went and got 3 bids for the concrete. One is to bring a concrete truck in, would be $1,800 just for the concrete plus labor. Then I rounded it down to just putting in patio blocks. That was $687. And then I went and I talked to the Home Depot and we got it down to $700 to pour the concrete ourselves in bags. We have 3 people that have contractor experience, and we would like to go ahead and pour that in there to make it safe for everybody to walk between the 2 courts. We had one incident about a month ago where a gentleman fell and he scuffed his knee up a little bit. So with what I'm trying to get at is that I'm asking permission. I talked to Dave a little bit about it, but I need permission to spend a total amount of about $700 just for the bag concrete and the permission to go ahead. We will dig it up, we will pour it and do everything.
Terry,
Yes.
as I mentioned, we need to keep moving on, but
Yes.
as I mentioned to you, I just received that email from Arlene with the information you're providing. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. I think we need to review it, and then if this is something that needs to be a board vote, put it on the next board meeting agenda.
And correct, and according to you, when I first came up before the meeting, we said we might not have to go through the board because
That's
it's
why
a
I need
smaller
to
amount.
learn more about this, so I'm not prepared to make any judgments.
No, I'm not asking you to make a judgment at this point in time, but I just want to introduce our horseshoe club and welcome everybody there.
Great,
Okay?
thank you very much.
Just to let you know that what we're going to do is going to be a facelift for this out here, which makes Brookridge a little more attractive, okay?
Thank you.
We're extending, actually, because we actually went to this fair that we just had, just like 2 weeks ago, where we actually put up actually a sign and showed people what it was all about. So we just got another 6 people. We're up over 20-some people throwing every Tuesday morning. It's free for everybody. We will teach you. We have women and men throwing. We got roughly 20 people there, if not more, every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we welcome everybody.
Are there outside outside guests coming in for this?
Yes, there is.
That was supposed to be asked. We have to let the gate know. There's a
We already
protocol for
did.
that.
It's no different than pickleball, which I'm involved with too. We have all the outside people coming in from pickleball that come and help us play on Monday, Wednesday, Friday also. So yes, we do go through code enforcement, and they let everybody know that they're coming up with pickleball.
Great.
I would say, Randy, what would you say? I would say we have actually about 10 members right here. We have people moving back out of there that just bought homes to move back in here because they feel part of so much we shoot there almost 7 days a week.
Terry, thank you very much. We need to.
Thank you for your
close
time.
out. Thank you. Any other member comments? Okay.
Thank you for being so patient.
Carolyn Hyde, Unit 3. I never needed a microphone. Carolyn Hyde, Unit 3. Carolyn Hyde, Unit 3. My question is, do we no longer have anyone on the third shift, the 10:30 to 6:30, I believe? Is there no one there at all on any nights at the gate? So
At the gate, yes. Code enforcement, no.
we have no one there at all.
We have
If there is someone in the
gatehouse.
trail or whatever it is. Okay, and is that gonna be a permanent decision?
Until we figure out how to get ourselves within the budget that the residents voted for, that's a semi-permanent position. As I mentioned at the previous meeting, if security is something the community wants, we can look at getting quotes and building it into the next budget process.
I realize the budget didn't pass. But the way I understood from a lot of people was because they want accountability, and it had nothing to do with you because you're the new board, but they want accountability of money that was collected previously. We've had years of, talking about it. So why would you want to vote yes for another budget that's going to increase your dues when you don't know what happened to the last monies?
That's what we're working on. We're trying to figure out how to get ourselves in line with the budget that we have to work with, which is at $50. And next year, if the community feels like they'd like to have a security company built into the budget, we'll propose that and see what that does to the rate.
Because that was really a drastic step, I thought, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. I can't advise on, but so much I wasn't involved with so much of that.
I realize that, but the final decision with the gate, front gate, came on you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, Rich Brett, Unit 3. I just wanted to reconfirm the idea. The new chairs are back here. The social dad spent $10,300 on chairs. $10,300 from a club. Okay, $500 contribution to the women's club. Dick Terry will give us $500. I got a few more dollars coming in. I would like the rest of the clubs to step forward. I don't care if you give me $10. I want every club to realize that these chairs are for the people and them. Okay, that's what they're here for. So if I get everybody to give me a hand, because we get 150 chairs, it's for the future. Who's gonna pay for those? I don't see any hands going up. So we'll want to get some more money for that. Number 2, I got a letter from Arlene stating that in buying the chairs, it said that not I, but we in the letter. You see the letter from Arlene? We. Who's we? Arlene is I. Letter says we about buying the chairs. She will not intersect me anymore if I buy chairs. Doesn't have to go through the board. I call the company, rock and roll, get the money to them immediately. I'm gonna go through the board for that again this time? Yeah, but I gave it to the office for the warranty. But I'm not gonna do that no more. Gonna go through myself and the social dance with our committee, order something, chairs or whatever, tables, and get it done. We're supposed to have it for New Year's, they never popped in here. Bad program. Okay? So I just want to let you know that if I do something, it's for the people that live here, not for me. Okay? And also with the kitchen, like we take care of it. The food is going to come in, most of it Saturday morning. Saturday morning, so they're not going to sit back there. We're going to come in, work 2 hours, 120 minutes. That's it. Take care of business. So with that in mind, then you can take care of people later on after we get done. The people, your people, you got to take care of the enrolls. Okay?
Yeah, we're just waiting for the emails to come in.
So we're gonna cook on Saturday morning with no problem. Well,
If you want to go out and cook in that kitchen, that's up to you.
yeah, I want to.
There you go.
It's for the people, not me. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy Hoops, Unit 3.
I just have a kind of a comment more than anything. There's several clubs in here and they raise money. And I know the clubs are supposed to have their own EI numbers and have their own accounts. And what all do they do with their money? Do they donate their money to some of the other things outside or to Brookridge? There are only a couple clubs in here I know that donate to Brookridge itself and to outside. Any club that makes money in here of any kind should be donating to this community as well as to outside places. I know the men's club does, the ladies at Brookridge do. I don't know who else donates outside. The Helping Hands I know give stuff. But anybody that's making money, I think, in Brookridge and has their own accounts needs to give to Brookridge in some way, to their other company, to beautification, whatever, and try to give to outside to the places that are in need. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I don't think there's any other member comments. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. May I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.